the thermal curling portion of the exam, you must first sanitize your hands. After you sanitize your hands, if you did not take your applicator out, you can go inside of your universal supply bag and take out an applicator. This will allow you to use an applicator instead of your finger when you begin to use your product. I will use this applicator to remove my curling wax. All items that are products to be used on your client must be labeled. So the thermal curling portion of the exam, the products that you may use, hairspray, and curling wax, or the product of your choice. You are not allowed to use aerosols. So here, I discarded my applicator into the trash, and I'm preparing the hair for the hairspray, which is in a spritz bottle. Once complete with that, I discard it in the items to be disinfected container, just like I did with the curling wax. As you smooth and prepare the hair, also remember to be conscious of how wide your subsection is. So here I am using my finger to measure the width of that subsection. The width should be no wider than 3 inches. I encourage you to do only 2. The wider, the more risk you run into your curls flopping at the reference point. So ensure that your subsections are 1, no wider than 3 inches, and then the length or how thick it is, your subsection needs to be the width of the barrel. And the barrel that you guys have is between 3/4 to 1 inch. So I choose to use my index finger, and I have measured, and I know from the tip of my finger to the first knuckle, it is 1 inch. So instead of using my iron, I usually use my finger. Now, as we prepare the hair, it is your option if you already want to have the hair pre-prepped up, meaning you can already put hair spritz in the hair, and you can already put your curling wax. Now here I am discarding the remainder of those end wraps. So I'm using an end wrap to test the curl. I'm going to hold that between 5 to 7 seconds. I think I held it for about 10 seconds, but 5 to 7 seconds. Once you're complete, discard it in the trash. I tend to hit the hand sanitizer just because my fingers sometimes will touch the tip of the bag. On these subsections, I want you guys to practice working with product and practice working without product. And you make your decision on whether or not you need to put any product in the hair. Now here, as you can see, I'm continuing to use my finger to measure. Now as we get started, you're going to see that my comb, I must use the comb instead of my finger. If that comb is 1 inch, if that iron is 1 inch to the scalp or 1 inch towards my finger, I need to make sure that I have my comb. So, example, when I am 1 inch away from the scalp with my client, I need to ensure that I have, just like I'm holding it now, holding the comb at the scalp to prevent any type of burns. Now, my client has short hair, so I have to be mindful to use the comb not just to protect the scalp, but also to remove the hair from the iron. You will create 2 curls on the top. You want to make sure that there are no lines in your work, and you need to make sure that there are no fish hooks or any bent ends or any lines or marks along the hair. You will be penalized for that. As you curl, you will be curling from base to ends. Now, what that means is that you cannot take the iron and drag it all the way to the ends. You must start turning. Now, I chose this mannequin because the hair is short. So as you guys can see, as I went about halfway, I went ahead and bent that iron and began pumping. But for someone with a mannequin with the hair as short as mine, you're going to have to be really, really careful not for the ends to slip out of the barrel. So make sure that you practice with the length that you intend, the length of hair that your mannequin is going to have for the practical exam. So here we are on number 2. We 2 at the top. We just completed the 2 at the top. Now at the top, I did use clips. Now you're going to create 2 more curls on the side. So 2 at the top and 2 on the side. You are being evaluated for making sure that you did, once again, test the temperature, that you do create a curl, and that you do have curls that you are curling from base to ends, from the scalp to the ends. So pump it, pump it, pump it. Once you get to a closing up point and you finished all of your curling and you still have time remaining, be mindful to go back and check your work. Here, my ends were a little, weren't sealed, so I went back and sealed them on the side, and now I am removing those single prong clips that I used. So remember, it is an option that when you curl, you can place a single prong clip in there. I am also, now that I've completed my curls, I went ahead and discarded my items that were remaining on my station, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now you have to remember that, see, I still have about a minute remaining, but if I did not have any time left, once that buzzer buzzes, I have to stop. Now, I am also going in and turning off my curling iron at this time, and I am also unplugging the iron at this time. And from this point, it can sit until it is cooled off. Just have it removed by the time you go to client number 2.